What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best WNBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 22 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got one pick wrong and got 22 right, which is a 98% win rate. Yes guys, you heard that right, 98% win rate. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 98% win rate and get 22 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which will be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $1,237 just yesterday, and another member who won $315 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout to Joe O'Donohue 4826 who said let's go, he's a natural. Also shouts out to Super Weeds who said too much analytics bro, I like how you're doing the goblin picks though. And also shouts out to James Steermako 1705 who said since you win so much you must be a millionaire. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it. You could be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're talking about is none other than Jonquel Jones, and this one is for 8.5 rebounds and this one is for less. Now looking at Jonquel Jones, we actually have seen her go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now this one's an interesting one because we do actually see when it actually comes to Jonquel, we did see on August 6th faced off against Dallas, had 10 rebounds there. Then on August 9th faced off against Dallas again, actually did a little bit worse as she only had 6 rebounds there. Then 6 rebounds on August 11th against Minnesota. After that, also faced off against on August 13th against Los Angeles Sparks, had 11 rebounds and 7 rebounds against the Aces on August 14th. So it is pretty interesting to see there. Now, obviously, looking at this, we have definitely seen that Jonquel Jones has not only just gone on the under in 3 out of the last 5, but her average over the last 5 is also 8, which is, a little bit or significantly, I would say, under her line. Now, when we look at Jonquel Jones and New York Liberty, we do know they have themselves a very good matchup against none other than Minnesota Lynx. Now it is definitely going to be an exciting game between both of these teams, but looking at where both of these teams do actually rank, it is pretty interesting to see because starting off with New York Liberty do come in at the actual 2nd spot in the WNBA. Not only do they rank, 2nd in the WNBA, but on top of that, we also do see when it comes to Liberty, they are also 1st in the Eastern Conference. So they've actually done fantastic there. Now, when it comes to their matchup, they do face off against none other than, Minnesota Lynx. But before that, we are going to be talking about Liberty. They have 21 wins, 12 losses, a 63.6 win percentage, also 13-4 at home, 8-8 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at all those, we have definitely seen, New York Liberty definitely do a very good job, and especially have done a great job when it comes to, the Eastern Conference. They are ranking number 1 in that. Now, looking at their matchup, we do know, like we've mentioned, they face off against Minnesota Lynx. And looking at Minnesota Lynx are in a bit of a better situation, as surprising as that is, because they actually have the number 1 spot in the league. So we have definitely seen, obviously, Minnesota been on an absolute tear as of lately. Now, Minnesota Lynx do not only just come in at the number 1 spot in the WNBA, but number 1 spot in the Western Conference. They have a record of 27 wins and 5 losses. That's an 84 0.4% win percentage as well. They're also 16-1 from home, 11-4 from away, and are currently on a 5-game win streak. So Minnesota Lynx have been on a roll quite a bit, and they are trying to continue this streak on into the next game for sure. Now, looking at this matchup, we do also see when it comes to, Jonquel Jones and the matchup against Minnesota Lynx. Looking at Lynx defensively, we do know Minnesota do rank 6th when it comes to actual rebounds allowed. So Minnesota Lynx do rank pretty well. Now, Minnesota do rank a little bit better in points and assists, but we are only just talking about rebounds in this case. But looking at this matchup, we do know, Jonquel Jones is a center, and we do see that Minnesota Lynx actually do a fantastic job at restricting, rebounds to the center position. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here for someone like Jonquel. We are expecting a lot of the attention to be on her and try to restrict her as much as they can. Now, we have actually seen them face off against each other in the last 5 games, which was on August 11th, and we did see her go in the under quite significantly, only had 6 rebounds there. So we are expecting a similar situation, similar outcome coming into this matchup for sure. So definitely keep an eye out for Jonquel Jones coming into this game. I definitely see a lot of value there for her to go on the under, and when you look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have her favored for the under as well. So 8.5 rebounds for Jonquel Jones for less, I think is a fantastic pick. So getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about another fantastic player. Now, I do also have to mention, guys and girls, that all these picks are actually from the same game, because there is actually only one game for today. So, since there is only one game for today, all the picks or players will be from this matchup. Now, next player we're going to be talking about is actually Natasha Cloud. Now, this one is for 3.5 rebounds, and this one is for less. Now, looking at Natasha Cloud, we actually have seen her go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, you see on August 6th, faced off against Dallas, had 4 rebounds in that matchup. August 9th, faced off against Dallas, had 3 rebounds there. Then August 11th, faced off against Minnesota, had 6 rebounds. August 13th, faced off against Los Angeles Sparks, had 2 rebounds. And then had 5 rebounds against Las Vegas Aces on August 14th. So, because of that, we definitely have seen her go on the under in 2 out of the last 5, but on top of that, her average over the last 5 is also 4. So, it is slightly above this line. Now, coming into this matchup, we do also see that when it comes to Natasha Cloud and New York Liberty, they face off against Minnesota, which we have already touched on before. Lynx do rank number 1 in the actual WNBA and 1 in Western Conference. They have a record of 27 wins and 5 losses. That's an 84.4% win percentage. And they face off against none other than, as we've mentioned, New York Liberty, who do rank 2nd in the WNBA, but also rank 1st in the Eastern Conference. Now, they have a record of 21 wins and 12 losses. That's a 63.6% win percentage. And on top of that, 13-4 at home, 8-8 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So, obviously, Minnesota Lynx, Liberty, great matchup, as we all know, battle of the top teams. But looking at Minnesota Lynx at rebounds, we have already touched on this, but Minnesota Lynx do rank 6th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So, they still do rank pretty decent. Now, still mid-tier, but a big reason why we do like the under for this situation here is also when we look at Natasha Cloud, she doesn't really have that high of a usage rate in this department, and we are actually expecting her to kind of take the first decrease to her usage rate in the rebounding department over anyone else. Now, obviously, we did see Natasha Cloud actually go on the under in some games, and she actually did go on the over in the game against Minnesota, but we are expecting adjustments to be made in that matchup, as we do believe that was a little bit of an outlier game. Now, Minnesota Lynx still do a decent job at actually restricting rebounds to the guard position, so that definitely does help there. But I do believe Natasha Cloud's usage rate in the rebounding department isn't really too high enough for us to be able to like the over for this one. What we are expecting to see is that obviously on August 11th, she did have a very good rebounding game, having 6 rebounds against Minnesota. It's now brought this line a little bit too high, but now there's a lot more value actually to go on the under. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for the under for this situation, especially for someone like Natasha Cloud coming into this game. So for that reason, keep an eye out for Natasha Cloud. Natasha Cloud, 3.5 rebounds for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about another player, but this is from the other side of this actual game, and that is none other than Jessica Shepard. Now, Jessica Shepard, great player, 8.5 rebounds as well, and this one actually is for less. So we do have a lot of rebounds in this, actual matchup, but it is definitely, some of the bigger value sort of picks that we have for you. Now, looking at Jessica Shepard, we have seen her go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. July 31st, faced off against New York Liberty, had 7 assists there. Then August 3rd, faced off against Las Vegas Aces, had 14 rebounds. After that, August 6th, faced off against Seattle Storm and actually had 13 rebounds there. Then August 9th, faced off against Washington Mystics, had 6 rebounds. And August 11th, against New York Liberty, had 4 rebounds in there. So we have actually seen, Jessica Shepard really struggle at the rebounding department as of lately. And looking at this matchup, we do know Minnesota Lynx face off against Liberty. Now, we don't really need to remind you again, but I do also just want to mention with them, Minnesota Lynx, when it comes to ranking, yes, they do rank first. Now, the record is 27-5, but over the last 10, they've actually had a record of 9-1. So they've been on an absolute tear as of recent. And then we see New York Liberty do a pretty good job, have a record of 21 wins and 12 losses. That puts them at the #1 spot in the Eastern Conference, the 2nd spot in the WNBA. And they actually, over the last 10 games, have a record of 4-6. So a little bit worse than Lynx, but definitely still pretty decent there. And looking at this matchup, we do know when it comes to Jessica Shepard and Minnesota Lynx, they face off against Liberty. And New York Liberty, when it comes to rebounds allowed, do rank 13th. So why do we like the under for this one? Although they do rank very low when it comes to restricting rebounds, that is definitely due to the pace that, this New York Liberty team likes to run. But on top of anything else, what we also do see when it comes to Liberty is that looking at New York Liberty, they actually do a fantastic job at restricting rebounds to the forward position. And we definitely have seen that time and time again, especially with these matchups. We did see them face off against each other on July 31st against New York Liberty, had 7 rebounds there. And then on August 11th against New York Liberty, had 4 rebounds in that matchup. So we definitely have seen, Jessica Shepard go on the under in both of those matchups. And that's definitely due to a fact that Liberty have just done a fantastic job at restricting rebounds, and we are expecting a similar sort of outcome and a similar sort of situation coming into this next game. So when we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also are favored for the under as well. So Jessica Shepard, 8.5 rebounds for less, I think is a great pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player you're going to be talking about is none other than Alana Smith. So as we mentioned, when it comes to, the WNBA, there is only one game. So all the picks are going to be, and players that we talk about are going to be from this same game. But looking at Alana Smith, we do know she has done a great job for Minnesota Lynx. We have actually seen her average 9.8 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 3 assists there. And on top of that, 1.4 steals. But looking at Minnesota Lynx, we do know they face off against New York Liberty. And just to quickly remind you again about these two teams, we do know Minnesota Lynx have had themselves a really good season, as they actually find themselves in the #1 spot in the WNBA. So it's definitely been an interesting time for Minnesota Lynx, as they have been on quite a roll as of recent. But they are looking to continue that streak. Now they do have a record of 27 wins and 5 losses, so they have been looking very good, and on top of that they have an 84.4% win percentage. Now they are 16-1 at home, 11-4 from away, and are currently on a 5-game win streak. So they are hoping to continue to push further and further and continue this win streak as well. And looking at them, they also not only just rank first in the WNBA, but obviously first in their conference, as they are in the Western Conference there. Now, they face off against New York Liberty. And the reason why this is going to be a very exciting matchup is that when you actually look at New York Liberty, you do know that they do rank very similar, because New York Liberty do come in at the 2nd spot in the WNBA and also have a record of 21 wins and 12 losses. So have a 63.6% win percentage. On top of that, they are 13-4 at home, 8-8 from away, and on top of that, they are also on a 1-game losing streak. Now, although New York Liberty do rank second, they are number one in the Eastern Conference. So when you're looking at these two teams, we definitely see some pretty interesting things, as we have seen when it comes to, you know, New York Liberty and Lynx. They both are the, you know, top teams for their conference. So this is kind of the battle of the conferences, and I think this is definitely going to be an exciting game for sure. Now, looking at this, you know, actual matchup, we do also know, looking at someone like Alana Smith and also Minnesota Lynx, looking at New York Liberty defensively, we do know New York Liberty do come in actually, when it comes to points allowed, they do come in at the 7th spot. When we look at assists allowed, New York Liberty rank 8th, and then rebounds allowed, New York Liberty do actually rank 13th. So they rank pretty low in all three categories, and that is something that has been pretty surprising for a lot of different people. A lot of people don't really know that they do rank very, very, you know, not only just low in many categories, but on top of that, they do like to push the pace, and that's one of the biggest reasons why they do rank where they do rank. Now, coming into this matchup, we definitely are expecting a big one, but we do very, very much like the over for someone like Alana Smith. Now, Alana Smith is a great player, do not get me wrong, but on top of that, we also have seen her just do, you know, a fantastic job in all three departments. Now, she doesn't have the highest usage rate in all three departments, you know, in this Minnesota Lynx team, but she is still, however, still very, very good when it actually comes to, you know, giving, providing points, providing rebounds, and also providing assists for this team. And someone of her usage rate, we definitely still see her being able to go on the over in this one. Now, coming into this matchup, we do know Alana Smith and Minnesota Lynx. We actually have seen Alana face off in the last 5 games. 2 were actually against New York Liberty. Now, we did see on the 31st, faced off against Liberty, had a 193 win there, had 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists there. So they actually did a fantastic job in that matchup. Moving on from that, we also saw in the matchup on the 3rd against Las Vegas Aces, had a 111-58 win in that matchup, had 7 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. On the 6th, actually faced off against Seattle and actually had a 91-87 win in that matchup with 6 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. After that, on the 9th, faced off against Washington, had an 80-76 win with 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists there. Then on the 11th, faced off against New York Liberty, had an 83-71 win with 8 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists there. So we definitely have seen them do a fantastic job in that sense. Now, obviously, looking at someone, you know, like Alana Smith, we definitely have seen her play some really good games, you know, here and there, but the ones that really definitely do stand out to us is due to the fact that they did face off against, you know, New York Liberty twice in the last 5 games, and we actually saw Alana Smith do very, very well. Now, we did actually see her go on the over in when we look at the first game. She actually did go over on her points line. Now, she did get very close at going over on her rebounds and assists, but slightly just under. And then on that most recent matchup, we did see her go over on her rebounds and assists there. So coming into this next one, we do very, very much still like the over. We are expecting that for someone like Alana Smith here. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about Wnba Prizepicks. Now, Wnba, great player, as we all know, for New York Liberty. Now, she has done a fantastic job so far this season, averaging 9.2 points, 3.7 rebounds, 1.6 assists, and also 1 steal. So she's definitely done a fantastic job. Now, looking at this matchup, it's going to be an exciting one, but we do also know, looking at, you know, her matchup, which is none other than Minnesota Lynx, we do know where Minnesota Lynx do rank. We do know, just to quickly remind you again, Lynx do rank 1st in the WNBA, but also rank 1st in the Western Conference, while New York Liberty do actually rank 2nd, and also in the Eastern Conference, they rank 1st there. So we definitely have seen both of these teams do very, very well. Now, looking at Minnesota Lynx on the other side, we did most recently just talk about, you know, obviously where New York Liberty do rank, but now looking at Minnesota Lynx and where they rank defensively, Minnesota do rank 1st in points allowed, 1st in assists allowed, and when it comes to rebounds allowed, they do rank 6th. They do rank a little bit lower in that, you know, I would say rebounding category. However, we still do very much like the under for this situation for Wnba, whether it's points, rebounds, and assists. Now, for this, situation, we definitely have seen Leonie do a fantastic job at times and really struggle against other teams. Now, coming into this matchup, as we've mentioned, we definitely have seen Minnesota Lynx time and time again not only just do a fantastic job at, restricting points, rebounds, and assists, but also have done a great job at doing that for Leonie's position. So that's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, looking at someone like Leonie over the last 5 games, we have seen her definitely play some pretty good matchups. We did see on the 6th face-off against Dallas Wings, had an 85-76 win, and also in that matchup actually had 14 points, 1 rebound, and 4 assists there. Then on the 9th face-off against Dallas, had an 88-77 win with 14 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists in that matchup. Then on the 11th faced-off against Minnesota, had an 83-71 loss with 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 0 assists there. After that, on the 13th face-off against LA Lakers, had a 105-97 win with 20 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists there. After that, faced off against Las Vegas Aces, had an 83-77 loss with 5 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists there. So, Leonie has definitely done a fantastic job in some games and has actually struggled in others. But coming into this next one, due to the fact that Minnesota Lynx are just a great defensive team, unfortunately, we are expecting for someone like Leonie's caliber to actually go on the under in this one. So, for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for the under for someone like Leonie coming into this matchup. Now, looking at someone like her, especially when we actually look at, where her averages do lie, she doesn't really have, I would say, unfortunately, the highest usage rate in this team as well. And we definitely see her struggling, as we are expecting other players in this Liberty team to take away from her usage rate, since she's, her usage rate isn't that high. So since Minnesota do a great job restricting it, we are expecting someone like her to probably take the biggest hit when it comes to that, and then everything else should follow from there. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the, under for this situation here for someone like Leonie. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about Natasha Hedman. So as you all know, Natasha Hedman, great player for none other than Minnesota Lynx. Now, we have seen her do a fantastic job, actually averaging 7.8 points, 1.8 rebounds, 2.8 assists, and 0.4 steals. So we definitely have seen them do a fantastic job there. Now, looking at this matchup, we do very much like this situation, as we have seen, Natasha do or facing off against New York Liberty. Now, we do already know where they rank, so, no real need to really discuss that more in depth. But just to remind you, with Lynx, we do know they have a great record of 27 wins and 5 losses, but over the last 10 games, we've actually seen them go 9-1. So Minnesota Lynx have been on quite a hot streak as of lately. And then New York Liberty on the other side, we do know she has been playing great, Natasha, but she does face off against a tough Liberty side. And Liberty, they have a record of 21 wins and 12 losses, but over the last 10 games have actually had a record of 4-6. So pretty interesting there. Now, coming into this matchup, it's definitely going to be an interesting one. But we do also see, when it comes to Natasha, we are expecting actually, the under for this situation. Now, we do know, as we mentioned, New York Liberty don't really rank too well. They rank 7th when it comes to points allowed. They also rank 8th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed. They also do rank 13th. So they don't really rank too high. But why do we actually like the, under for this situation here? And a big reason being is that when it actually comes to Natasha, she is a guard. And because of that, we actually have seen, New York Liberty actually do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to her position. Now, on top of that, yes, we have seen her do well in some certain matchups, but we are expecting in this next matchup to be a little bit different. Now, looking at her last 5 games, just to quickly show you again, we do know Natasha did face off against Liberty recently, actually had on the 31st against New York Liberty, as we mentioned, had a 193 win. We also had 10 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist there. After that, on the 3rd, faced off against Las Vegas Aces, had a 111-58 win with 17 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists there. Then on the 6th, faced off against Seattle, had a 91-87 win with 5 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists. And then against Washington Mystics on the 9th and had 7 points, 0 rebounds, and 2 assists there. After that, New York Liberty on the 11th had 13 points, 0 rebounds, and 1 assist in that matchup, and an 83-71 win there. So definitely interesting to see. Obviously, we have actually seen, Natasha do a great job at times. And yes, she has done a pretty good job when it actually comes to, scoring and rebounding and also playmaking against New York Liberty. But we are expecting a different outcome in this next matchup, as we are expecting New York Liberty to make massive adjustments there. So I definitely keep an eye out for the under for this situation for someone like Natasha Hedman. So definitely keep an eye out for her. I see a lot of value there for her to go on the under, especially when it actually comes, to Natasha. She doesn't really have that high of a usage rate from this team, and we are expecting Liberty to make some adjustments and actually could see Natasha go on the under there. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the under for this one.